Welcome everybody to Advanced Manifestation Community live training for the week. And I'm Cory Michelle. So let's just dive right in. You know that one of my favorite things to unlock and discover is your subconscious. Your subconscious is just where the magic happens. However, it's also where sabotage happens. It's where destruction in your world happens. It's where patterns repeat. It's where the trauma is held. It's where a lot of things that are holding people back from their manifestations, coming alive, living their dream life, dare I say, living your crazy possible life. It's where all that stuff is stored. And when we can unlock the power of our subconscious mind and discover sort of where our blocks are and what specific ones you have, because it really doesn't matter what other people have. It matters what's going on in your subconscious. We need to know a few things before we go there. So what I've done is I've decided, I thought that was just going to be a 1-part series with your subconscious, but we're going to do a few parts. I think maybe 3 or 4. So hello, everybody. Welcome joining us live. Let me know you're here. Say hi. And if you're watching the replay, just hashtag replay. Let me know you're here. Now, I've got a couple things for you today. I'm going to tell you right now. I've got homework for you. And this homework is going to help expose your subconscious agenda. And when you can really unearth and expose your subconscious agenda, then guess what? You're bringing into your consciousness, your cognitive mind, and then it's not subconscious anymore. Subconscious means below your thinking mind. It's the stuff that you're just not really aware of. It's those patterns, those things you do, and you don't even know that you're doing them. And you're like, why do I keep doing this? Well, that's what we want to unlock. That's what we want to unhook. There's no just one answer. There's no just one clearing. There's no just one meditation thing. Your subconscious is a very complex machine, basically, of your inner workings from your past, from your entrainment, from the energies of your childhood, from any traumas, from any successes. And all of that comes together to create this identity that's working like a machine. It's like AI, but it's not very intelligent AI. It's just saying, this is what happened, so we can do this again. This is familiar. This is what we do. Now, just like the universe doesn't have feelings. And I would also, from my perspective, say that God doesn't have feelings on, hey, you deserve this or you don't deserve this or whatever. Your subconscious is the same thing. It's just responding to what has already happened. Now, your universal field, and this is what we need to understand, your universal field, the field of your bubble of reality, what you perceive, how you perceive it, how you respond to it, that field of consciousness that's connecting everything, that field of consciousness that's saying, when you ask for something, it's like gonna make it happen. It's what's creating your awareness. It's where everything exists in the infinite possibilities. When we're looking at, the universe as, or God, or whatever you call it, whatever you're relating to, with feelings like, yes, you deserve this, I'm rooting you on, the universe wants you to win, that's all bullshit. This is my perspective. You believe whatever you want, but from my perspective, this is all working out for you based on who you're being, which for most people is your unconscious identity. So for example, if your unconscious identity is like, nobody supports me, because maybe your parents never supported you, or maybe you were raised in a highly critical home, so everything is about judging you and criticizing you, so you're just trying to do everything you can to avoid that, right? That's really where that was very, much where I came from in terms of like the criticism and stuff. And when we start building this identity, we start functioning, to try to now avoid criticism, for example, right? Or maybe like some stuff is possible, but not that stuff, not that outrageous, crazy stuff that you really want to create, and who you want to become, right? So you sort of keep yourself in a box. And so then you start relating to people and the universe and God and all this stuff as if it has a perspective that's going to criticize you if you do it right or wrong. But really, You shift who you're being, you shift your subconscious, how you're functioning, how you're responding, how you're being in the world. And guess what? The universe will respond accordingly. The universe doesn't have a point of view. The universe is like Amazon. Amazon doesn't care what you order. Doesn't care what you order. It will deliver whatever you order. So who you're being, your identity, your energy, your choices, your actions, following your awareness or not, is what's dictating what shows up on the external reality in your universe. Okay. So if we start there and we say, okay, well, what if the universe doesn't have a point of view? And what if it actually is me that's responsible for this? Then there's a lot of power in that. So one of the things with this subconscious work we have to identify is that their subconscious is really coming through your body, your consciousness, and going out into the world, how you're relating to everything. So one of the subconscious blocks is confidence. How confident are you? There's a whole bunch of questions I'm going to ask you here. So if you have a pen and paper, write these down. One, how confident are you that what you are just wanting to manifest, wanting to create, wanting to step into, how confident are you that you can do it, that it's going to show up? So write it in the chat for me. How confident are you? Just pick one thing. How confident are you? And if you have a history of not being confident, just look at everything. Like, is there just a low level of confidence with everything? Right? Let me know in the chat. How confident are you? 100% confident? You're like, yep, I know I'm confident. Everything's showing up for me all the time. The universe is working out. Or do you have some doubts? You're like, well, I feel like I'm going to have to work really hard. I don't really want to work so hard. I've been working so hard for so long. Right? Or maybe you're like, God, I've been going for it for so long. I just don't even know if it's possible anymore. Okay. Right. We've got not very confident. We have a 60%, 75%. Yeah. Yeah. Receiving a lot of warm welcomes, especially from family. Okay. I'm not receiving a lot of warm welcomes, especially from family. Okay. Right. I feel like I have to push to make it happen. That was me too. I felt like nobody in my immediate family or extended family was on the same page. I was truly the sparkly unicorn of thinking differently and being differently. There's still nobody in my family that's interested in any sort of spiritual or personal growth. Which I just find so interesting because it's my obsession, right? It is my one main interest in life is consciousness, human behavior, energetics, manifesting the universe, cosmic stuff, what is going on this planet. But nobody else in my family seems to care about any of that. So we just leave the family behind, or not behind, but they're just not interested. Okay, great. We're going to go in a different direction. I have always been different. I've always been on the fringe of things, probably like many of you guys. Okay. So this confidence, if we look to, our family of origin for our confidence to say, yes, you can do it, you may or may not get that. You may or may not get it from your friends, and you may or may not get it from, people at work or school or wherever. You may not get any of that outside reassurance. So where are you going to get it? From inside. Now, if you, for example, this is where your subconscious comes into board, and we're just going to be talking about this confidence for today. Okay. If you never were supported to go for your dreams, to go for the crazy possible, like I talk about, right? If you were never really like said, you know what you are aware of, you go for it and you're going to have it, then what you're doing is you're fighting against your subconscious, which has programmed in there, it's not possible. It's going to take a lot of work. You're going to have to really struggle. And then you tell me what else is in there. Like what else comes up if you say, hey, what would it take to be 100% confident in my dream coming alive? Me stepping into this version of me, right? This future self, like we talk about every week, right? What's in there? Whatever's coming up in your head is what is programmed into your subconscious. Okay. Now, the really cool thing about their subconscious is that it works. It's working perfectly. There's nothing wrong with your subconscious. If your subconscious is projecting through you this unconscious identity, then it's working. So then the next question we have to ask is, ooh, if it's working, it's just programmed incorrectly to my current desires, my current awarenesses, my current manifestations. Then the question is, How do we reprogram that? Okay. How do we reprogram that so it naturally. Notice how I'm saying naturally, automatically supports what you want to create. Okay. Because what happens is we're always fighting against our subconscious and saying, oh, I did that thing again. Oh, I fell in that pitfall again. Oh, I sabotaged again. Oh, I avoided again. Oh, I made myself wrong again. Ah, and then it repeats. And then what we try to do is what have you tried to do? Let me just ask you. I know what I've tried. I spent 15 years trying things to get rid of my subconscious patterns, right? What have you tried? I tried clearing it. That didn't really work as well as other things that I found out later. I thought it was working, but it really wasn't. It was turning into avoidance. And here's what I have to say about that. I spent 8 years as a facilitator, clearing things energetically, and it always felt like great, but guess what happened? I kept focusing on clearing things. So it was one more thing to clear, one more thing to clear, one more thing to clear, one more thing to clear. There was never any stepping into, okay, well, now that you've cleared that, now what? Now that you've cleared that, now what? Right? So what happens is you start getting addicted to clearing it because it makes you feel better, but then are you actually moving forward? Are you actually being different, or did you just feel better? So then it becomes this addiction to just feeling better, but not actually moving anything forward in your life, right? And that's what I started to see with myself, but also with my clients. And then when I started stepping into my future self and building out a new subconscious that matched my future self, that's where the magic happened. Okay. I read books, I did mantras, I did all sorts of tapping and um, releasing and journaling and putting things in the fire and all sorts of things. And every single piece gave me more awareness about myself and who I was being. So it was all valuable. But when you are really like, okay, I got to get this subconscious thing on board. I got to get my subconscious on board with what I want to create. It's not about clearing. It's not about doing the mantras. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about reprogramming your subconscious. But what you need to know is a couple of things. And this is part of your homework for the week. Okay. What you need to know, number one, is what are my subconscious beliefs that are not aligned with creating what I want specifically? Because you can have a whole bunch of subconscious beliefs in there that aren't really doing anything. I mean, they're neutral towards your manifestations, right? Towards what you want to create. And those ones we don't really need to look at right now. We need to look specifically at what's in the way, what thought patterns. So here's what you want to write down. Here's your homework for the week. Every day, I want you to, before you go to bed, or maybe even at lunchtime, right? There's going to be a couple of questions. Here's the first one is, what was the dominant thought pattern in my head with regard to, and then list your manifestation. If you want to triple your business, if you want to lose weight, if you want to be more confident, if you want to change a relationship, what was my dominant thought pattern? What was reoccurring in my head? Okay. Write that down. What was my dominant thought pattern today with regard to this manifestation? Now, some of you guys are going to hear different things like, ooh, I had a lot of doubt. I don't know if I can do it. Oh, I'm really frustrated. I had to work hard. Some of you guys are going to realize you're totally avoiding it and forgetting. Okay. So when you try to go for something, you go, I didn't even think about that today. Okay. Write that down. Okay, so that's question number one. This is going to start to uncover what's going on in your subconscious on a daily basis, because your subconscious mind is running your life. 80 to 90% of your life is run by what's going on subconsciously, unconsciously reacting to life, unconscious thoughts in your head. Okay, now as we become more conscious with things, we get more facility with that. But what happens is that sometimes when we're going for something new, or we realize, wait a second, I've been going for this for like 3 years and it hasn't been here yet. What's the deal? And we really start to look at it. Then we can start to see what's really underneath there. Okay. Let me look at your comments real quick here. I think it's not working because I'm not consistent. Okay. That could be definitely part of it. And then we got to look at, why am I not consistent? What's happening? What's going on? Why am I not consistent? And here's the thing you want to completely avoid And here's what you can do instead. You want to avoid judging it. So like, oh, I'm not consistent. But then, we'll go, oh, I'm so wrong for not being consistent. See, I can't do it. And then it fulfills some story, right? That's not really even true. What you want to look at is, oh, I haven't been consistent, but why? Why haven't I been consistent? From data, information. You're just looking for information. Because you're inconsistent doesn't mean anything about you. It means you've been inconsistent. So why? Why have I been consistent? Maybe you've been forgetting. Maybe you've been sabotaging yourself. Maybe you've been focused on stuff that other things, right? I hear a lot from parents that, oh, my kids had all these emergencies. Yep. Okay. And then we can start looking at what's the pattern here. Subconscious is all patterns. And if you can start being an expert at recognizing your patterns, doesn't even matter subconscious patterns, but your patterns are your subconscious. Okay. That's what I am 3 years into this. I'm inconsistent with no results yet. I'm consistent with no results yet. Okay. Adult ADD is why. Okay. Now, adult ADD, I can totally identify with that. And there's ways to focus even when your mind naturally wants to be distracted. I'm not going to talk about that today, maybe another day, but it is possible. And we don't want to use something like ADD or kids or busy or my job or the world as an excuse. Now, there might be information there, but we go, okay, well, so how can I create this? How can I reprogram my subconscious? And by the way, a lot of ADD is in your subconscious. Not all of it, but some of it is. Especially if you've been doing a certain pattern for a long time. All right, I'm looking at your comments here. So I love the concept of not clearing it. It's about choosing. Now, clearings, I mean, sometimes clearings are great because it makes an opening. It creates an opening for you to step into, but that's the part that I see a lot of people not doing. So they go, oh, it feels good. I'm good now. Everything's gone. And then they go back to being the old way they were. Guess what? Nothing's ever going to change and you're going to clear stuff for 1 billion years because you can clear until infinity and never get anywhere if you don't step into that next version of yourself, which still requires repetition. Repatterning requires repetition, whether you like it or not. And some of us ADHD people don't like repetition, so we don't do it. And then guess what happens? We repeat the old stuff. Okay. Now, let me see here. What was my dominant thought pattern that pulled me away from living my conscious life? I adopted everyone else's doubts. They became my doubts, and I would give up. Fantastic. Great to know. Great to know. Okay, I am paying more attention to other people's doubts than to what I want. Okay, that's what keeps us not confident is we look, oh, it's not possible. It's not possible. If you look at the world right now, you have a whole group of people in the last 2 years that their lives, lots of people's lives changed over the last 2.5 years. But there's a whole segment of people that are really struggling. And especially like here, I think it's everywhere, but this has happened. But in Australia, there's a lot of people that had to, let's take this example. Here in Australia, you had to take the jab to keep your job. There was a number of industries where you had to do that. Lots of people just did it because they wanted it. And then there was lots of people who did it because they didn't want it. And then there was people who were like, no, I'm not doing that. And they lost their jobs. So they chose that. Now, here's the thing. There are lots of people who said, forget that. I'm getting out of this system where anybody can tell me what to do, and I'm going to create my own way. And in that entrepreneurial spirit, which is the creator identity, have doubled, tripled, quadrupled their businesses. Why? Because they're subconscious. They said, I'm going to be this version of me and have it happen no matter what. And that's what I'm going to focus on. And it was really easy to see what they didn't want to focus on because they were like, I can't actually even go in that direction anymore with this job. I have to go in a different direction. I actually hired a cleaner for my house. And I actually posted in one of the local groups and I said, hey, I want to hire somebody who didn't want to get it. That is, needs to create something else for themselves. I'm very much inspired by that because you really have to say, not going in that direction anymore at all for yourself. No matter what it is, this is just one example. I am no longer going down the track of not being successful. I'm no longer going down the track of not having freedom. I am no longer going down that track. I am now don't have a back door and I am creating this direction. Okay. So I hired a cleaner. We had so many conversations every time she came over. She created this whole cleaning business. She made plenty of money to take care of replace her income from her last job, and I think she actually made more. It wasn't her favorite thing, but she did what she needed to do so that she had her own integrity. How much integrity do you have with the life you want to be living, or those manifestations, or stepping into your future self? Tell me right now, how much integrity, on a scale of 0 to 100%, how much integrity do you have with being that version of you? Confidently being that version of you. Okay. Now, I don't see any comments yet, but they're coming. This is what you want to get to, is being confident in who you're becoming. Okay. I got 80%, 10%. Yikes. Okay. And this is something that you don't really think about, right? It's like you just think, oh, the doubts are normal. Um, Doubting is basically proving that you can do it and you can be it, but you're stopping yourself. Like you have to doubt in order to stop yourself. Otherwise, you would just go. So it's literally like putting the brakes on when you're on the freaking Autobahn. Okay. But we're taught to do that and we learn to do that. And then everybody in the world is just justifying their doubt. And then you have some people out there and they're like, let's have a big oh my God, I went to this one retreat years and years and years ago, and they were just validating all of their doubts and how it feels to doubt. I don't fucking care how it feels to doubt. You know why? Because doubt is just showing you that it's possible and that you're stopping yourself. You're choosing to doubt. So we go, why are we want to feel into the doubts when that's just continuing to build the story that why you're not doing it? I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, okay, I would not do it that way at all. And I've never found any success in that at all. Let's actually realize what doubt really is. Truth bomb. Doubt is you stopping yourself from what's inevitable. That's how we have to stop ourselves. We have to slow ourselves down. Okay, so we have 85 to 90%, 50%, 60% confident, 45% confident. Okay, fantastic. So, all right. So if you're not 100% confident, then what are you? This is where your subconscious comes in. Subconscious block number 1. Why are you not 100% confident? Good question, huh? It's like, well, why am I not? This is the second question I want you to percolate on over the week. Ask yourself at night. The second question is, okay, well, if I'm not at 100%, why? Why? What's going on that has me not be at 100%? Okay, you're going to find a lot of really great information in there. Yeah. Wow, never heard doubt explained like that. Yep. It's you stopping yourself. You go, well, why am I stopping myself? What's more valuable than going for it? Why have I put so much energy and value on stopping myself? Because I'm doubting myself every day. Doubting yourself is what I would call an energetic addiction. We get addicted to this low level thing. So we go, woo, yay, possibility, yay, manifestation, yes, heart's desire. Oh my God, I want that so bad. Stepping into it, boom, doubt. Doubt brings you down. Doubt is an energetic addiction. So doubt gets layered in with your system, your energetic system, your chemistry, and then it starts going in a circle. Okay, you go up and then you go down, then you go up and you go down, and you go around in circles. And that is all implanted with beliefs and points of view and perspectives. Also, automatic response systems of this is how we respond when there's something big and unknown. Right? We go, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get there. Doubt. Ooh, I wonder if it's possible. Doubt. Ooh, let me share this with somebody. Doubt. That will come from the outside to validate your subconscious belief. Okay. You ever notice that? If you're like, telling the world, which I wouldn't recommend telling the world, only tell the people that you will support you what you're going for. Don't tell the people that are going to doubt you. Like, don't, because all you're going to do is get back their own doubts, or your doubts. If you have a doubt unconsciously or subconsciously and that's still there, then it will project into your reality and come out of other people's mouths. If that's not there, then it'll come from them. If it's theirs, it'll come from them. I'm scared at the age of 58 that I'm finally standing up and doing what I want the way I want, which is not a popular choice. How about it's very popular? Right? So the subconscious belief is that it's not a popular choice. First of all, why would that matter to you if it's not a popular choice? What does that even mean, right? Why is that your priority in the thing that pops up? And this is what you're looking at. Why is that popping up in accordance to this? Why are those two connected? That's what you want to look at. Okay. I'm afraid of being disappointed. I've dealt with a lot of disappointments in my life. Okay. Disappointment pattern. Where is that coming from? Not your future. It's coming from your past, the subconscious belief. And disappointments also, because you can feel disappointed. Like the feeling of disappointed is like, oh, it's like heartbreak. It's like, oh, disappointment is also a energetic addiction. Okay. I just survived a downward spiral and now I spent a lot more time alone. Yeah, a lot of very creative people say that. A lot of people living their best life say that. Spending a lot of time alone. And a lot of time not with the people that they may have used to spend time with. Okay, so we had the first question. What is the dominant thought pattern? Okay. And why? Why? Ask yourself, why? Why am I going there with regard to this? What is it? The dominant thought pattern with regard to your manifestation. And why? Why am I going there? Just look in your past, look at what happened as a kid, look at what happened yesterday, and you'll start to see patterns. Okay. Right? Disappointed myself for letting others down. You can never let others down. Do you realize that? You can never actually let others down. So you want to look at that. Where have I been in a position that others have decided I've let them down? Yeah. What's my dominant thought pattern and why? So at the end of the day, just notice what's your dominant thought pattern with regard to what you want to create. So if you're already in the transformation program, what's your 8-week target? So just notice what's my dominant thought pattern to that. All right. So pick one thing and look at it for a whole week every day. Because what's going to happen is life is going to show up and life is going to have you respond. And then you go, oh, I just responded in a very interesting way. Let me look at that. Right? Because when we sit here and we just do it right now, you're going to see whatever you see. But then life happens. And in life is where we start to see where the patterns are. Often with family, as they said, I let them down. Yeah, that's their perspective. So here's the question. Why did you believe it? Why did you believe it? Why is their expectation of you more like having any effect on you? Like really, like you want to look at this, especially the people pleasers, right? And the people pleasing comes from when people have expectations of you that you're letting them down or that you're not doing it right or you're not being good enough, you're not something, but that's from their perspective. So why, like this is the question to ask yourself, why have I made that important to myself of letting other people down? That's their perspective. Now, if you said you were going to do something and you didn't show up, right? And, you just blew it off or whatever, and they were like, I really needed you. Say they were moving house and you said you were going to help, then that was just being an asshole. Right? Now, if that happened and then you were sick and you couldn't, and then they were let down, that's a whole nother story because you weren't intentionally not showing up. But if they have expectations of you that you haven't fully agreed to, that's their own thing. Like parents saying, oh, you really let us down. You didn't become a doctor. What? Oh, you didn't let us down, or you let us down. You didn't have grandbabies for us. What? So you got to ask yourself, were those expectations something that I actually agreed to? And then what actually happened? Because mostly we're running in this thing like I'm going to disappoint people. I've let all these people down. Okay, what did you let down? Did you agree to that? And then maybe if you did agree to that and you were like, you know what? I never really wanted to do that in the first place. I really couldn't fulfill that. You can look at it, you can start examining it. And then you might start seeing a pattern of agreeing to things that you didn't really want to do anyway, or you couldn't fulfill upon. Or you start agreeing to things, and then these people have these projections on you, right? And then you're like, well, they have this projection. And then I'm like stepping into that, but I can never actually be successful anyway because I don't really want to do it anyway. So you can start to see some stuff under there, right? And then maybe for some of you guys, maybe you were an asshole. So you got to clean that up for yourself of like, okay, what had me choose that? What had me do that thing that let somebody else down or hurt somebody like that? Like when you're actually being a jerk, right? Because a lot of times when people are projecting like you're letting us down or we're disappointed in you or that hurt me, oftentimes that doesn't, like, I would say maybe depending on the situation, 80 to 90% of the time it's their projection. Uh, but if you have a subconscious belief that you're going to let people down, then you're bouncing off of each other, right? So then that just creates this vicious circle that never ends until somebody says, you know what, I'm actually going to heal that part of myself. I'm actually going to address it. But if you look at also, hey, was I the asshole? Then we can go, oh yeah, you were definitely the asshole. But oftentimes, even in that, there's a choosing for you. Example. Oh my gosh. I had this boyfriend that I was hanging out with for a couple of months, and he was kind of a dick. And I was getting empowered in relationships at the time. And I was like, he had let me stay at his house for a couple of weeks while I was in between places. And, I was going to be getting my new place anyway. And a few things happened, and I started to see that like this guy was really taking advantage of me, even though he was giving me things, and it was this really weird thing. And then anyway, I move out, and he says he's going to help me move. I'm moving from a storage unit and everything. He says he's going to help me move on a Sunday morning, and then what he does is he gets drunk instead, so he can't help me. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Okay. And I could make a story like, oh, you let me down. But instead, I was like, thank you for showing me who you are. You supposedly care about me, but you went and got drunk. So, all right, that's on you. That's not on me. Right. And then I said, all right, when do you want to come see my new place? And he said, oh, I don't know, maybe next week. And I said, okay, well, this is obviously over. Right. Obviously, I'm not interested in being with somebody who has that little regard for, kind of a big thing in my life, right? And maybe it was already over for him too. That's fine. We parted ways. But one of the things he said to me after, he's like, "You're just so selfish." And I went, "Oh, that's interesting." So then I could, if I had a subconscious thing like, "Oh, Cory, you're so selfish," like it might have triggered an old story and gone, "Oh, well, can't be selfish. Maybe it was me." But I looked at it and I went, well, "Wait a second, who's really being selfish here?" Right? And there was a number of things he did like that. And I went, "That's not me. That's him. He's projecting that through his actions." Right? So when we can actually look at stuff instead of run the pattern, you start to get power. So this is what I want to leave you with today is these two questions. What's my dominant thought daily? And write this down daily. Do this for 7 days, and we're going to put prompts in the group for you guys this week. What's my dominant thought with regard to my manifestation? Okay. And why? What's going on? And maybe even ask yourself some other questions with that and journal about it. You want to write it down. You want to get this out of your subconscious so you're actually looking at it, because what happens is when you can write it down on a piece of paper with your hand, then you can start to observe it. Okay. Then you start to go, oh, I'm not my subconscious pattern. I can actually observe this. Then we can actually do something with it consciously. Because when you're becoming your future self, when you're becoming a magnet for all of your desires, when it's inevitable and you have 100% confidence, who would like to have 100% confidence? Let me know in the chat. 100% confidence. Your desires are inevitable. Your manifestations are inevitable. And having zero doubt stopping you, what would that be like? Let me know in the chat. When you start functioning as if you're not as if, but functioning with the knowing and the wisdom that your subconscious is being programmed by you every single day. What are you putting in there? What are you putting in there? What are you putting in there? What are you repeating? What are you feeding? Then when you see all of that, you can actually become the observer of your subconscious instead of the victim of your subconscious. And that's when you become a manifesting machine. Okay. So that's your homework for this week. Next week, we're going to be ready. I'm going to have a whole quiz ready for you guys. You might have seen it. Thank you, by the way, to everybody who contributed. We are creating this quiz to assist you in identifying your subconscious blocks. And when you can, and to help you with that, right? So some of the questions are going to assist with that. And I have a whole webinar that's going to really show you how to effectively go beyond those subconscious beliefs. And it's not just beliefs, it's just the programming. It's whatever script is running in this program that doesn't have you be 100% confident, that doesn't have you be 100% clear, because that's another big one, and what doesn't have you 100% be free. If you're a people pleaser, you're going to want to pay attention to that, because if you're looking at others, if you're affected by others, you are not free. Okay. That's huge. And free also to release the old versions of you. Not just freedom to live your life and freedom to make choices, but there's so much more depth in freedom that people don't really realize they're not free from yet. All right, you guys. So let us know when we do the prompts. Pay attention to the group and do your journaling. Let us know how it's going. And I can't wait to see you be free and 100% confident that your manifestations, every single one of them, not just this one, will manifest, because you are a manifesting unicorn, a magical manifesting unicorn. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me today. And let me know what your takeaways are down below. And I wonder what else is available. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.